Okay, now in this assignment is kind of the culmination of the factor by grouping. You have an equation, you have to solve it, okay? And you see the x to the third power, meaning there's three answers we need to be finding, okay? Now, there's zeros there because you got x third, x second, x, all kinds of different x's, okay? So you need to use another method other than just collecting the x's all together. Okay, so there are four terms. So when there are four terms, what I'm going to do is write the word grouping, not big, and then make a big box for that, okay, because we know that takes a bit. And you're also then going to make a DOPS box because you are going to have to check for DOPS. That's how four terms are factored. Okay, now the grouping, it helps to set up your formation. So parentheses plus parentheses, get the plus sign. And then the same thing, but now there's going to be spaces outside. And then one parentheses with a space outside. Okay, and then I just drop things inside. So I write 1x to the third minus 6x to the second, and then negative 9x plus 54. That is negative 9x. You got to put negative. Okay, now I'm doing the GCF between just two, not all four at the same time. So there's no negative in front here, but they do both contain the x variable, and not only that, they have x third and x second, so I need to take the x to the second. Okay, so I kind of circle that so I know that's what I need to be putting down there. Okay, and if I go 1 comma 6, it's just 1, so you don't need to bother with that. Now here you do have a negative in front, and then you don't have x on both, so we should not be putting x there. And then 9 and 54, okay, the GCF 6, I'm just proving it, okay. Or no, 9, it's 9, okay. So I'm going to be dividing by negative 9, okay. So x to the second pops out here, and then I'm factoring out the negative 9 from there. Okay, so I got 1. If you have x to the third and you take away x to the second, you have x to the first. So just put x minus and then 6, and you can cross those x to the seconds out because they're the same. Now over here is going to be the same thing, 1x minus 6. I guarantee you if you do everything right. Now these two are the same, okay? Those two parentheses, so we write 1x minus 6. I'm going to put it in parentheses, but then I'm going to go up here and cross them out because I'm factoring that out. And then what do I have left? I have x to the second power. Don't put plus negative, just put minus 9. Okay, so this isn't a DOPS. I mean, it's minus, but 6 is not up on my board, okay? So I circle that. That's done with until I come over here. It gets an F label. I'll put F1 on that. And then this is a difference of perfect squares because 9 is 3 times 3, and x to the second power is x times x, okay? So x, 3 and 3, and now those have F2 and F3 labels. Okay, so now I know how I get my three answers. 1x minus 6 equals 0, x plus 3 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so plus 6, that's 6. Minus 3, that's negative 3. And then plus 3, that's positive 3. Okay, next one. I like to have all these have coefficients in the front. Okay, there are 3 answers because of the third power, and there's 4 terms. So I write the word grouping, big box, okay, and parentheses plus parentheses, and then the parentheses with the spaces outside, then a space and a parentheses. Okay, and then I'm going to need to check that for a difference of perfect squares. That's how this is a setup for 4. Like 2 is GCF DOPS, 3 terms is GCFT, 4 terms is grouping and DOPS. I don't even do a GCF, okay? Because I don't put any problems in Algebra 1 where there's a GCF with 4. I just don't, okay? It doesn't happen very often. So 1x to the third plus 5x to the second. and then negative 16x minus 80, okay? Okay, so we don't have the negative, but we have x third and x second, so we need to put x to the second because that's the greatest number of x's you can take out of that. And then here we have a negative, and 1 and 5 is just 1. That's why you don't see me put a number there, okay? And they don't both have x, so we don't want to put x down there, but we need to GCF 16 and 80 for sure, because those probably have something they can be divided by, and they do. It's 16, okay? Okay, so x to the second comes out here, and negative 16 is factored out there. So I have 1, x third, x second is x, and then 5, and these x's are the same, so they just can cancel out. And this will also be 1x, and if you take negative 80 divided by negative 16, that's positive 5, so plus 5. So the parentheses are matching, so I pull that expression in the matching out, put it in parentheses, and then in here I'm going to go with the x to the second. Don't put plus negative, just put minus 16. Okay, so this if it has a plus, you circle it. You don't even mess with it, okay? But the minus, can you write 16 as something times itself? Yeah, it's 4 times 4. And x to the second, x times x. So x, 4, 4. And then and this is my F1, and then this becomes my F2 and F3, okay? Okay, so the 1x plus 5 can equal 0. The x plus 4 can equal 0, or the x minus 4 can equal 0. So negative 5 minus 4, I get negative 4. And plus 4, I end up with positive 4. All right, next part. Okay. X to the third. Now I recommend you put 1s in front, okay? So you can see clearly what the 4 numbers are, and then their variables. So again, 4 terms. So I write the word grouping. So parentheses plus parentheses, and then the same thing with the spaces outside, and right there. And then down here I make a little small dots box. Doesn't take very much room to check for do difference of perfect squares. Just 1's plus, 1's minus. Okay, so I've got 1x to the power of 3 plus 1x to the power of 2, and then I have the negative 16x minus 16. Okay, so yeah, 1 and 1 doesn't really have a GCF, but they both have x's. So x to the second goes down here, and then we have negative, and they don't both have x. And then 16, guys, here's what I see people having problems with on this. What they'll do is they'll punch in 16, 16, and they'll be like, oh, it didn't give me one, so that means I just leave it. No, you don't. The reason it's not giving you one, because you should know that if you have the same number, you'd need to divide by 16, the number that's there. So x squared is factored out here, and negative 16 here. And then I have 1. Remember that x third, x second would leave you with an x plus 1, and then these can be gotten rid of. And this is 1x plus 1. Okay, so they're the same. Factor that out. Okay, and I put a parentheses around that, and then I have x to the second power minus 16. Okay. Okay, so this needs to be circled. It's not a dots because there's no minus. It has to be minus to do the dots. Well, this one is 4 times 4, x times x, okay? Not only is there not a minus, the x is not to the second power. That's prime, okay? This rate prime means I don't do anything with it. It's done, okay, dead. And 4 times 4, okay? So there we have that. Okay, so this is my factor 1, that's factor 2, and that's factor 3. Okay, so 1x plus 1 equals 0, x plus 4 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so I put 1's in front, so I minus 1. And this is pretty much all you need to know about with the factoring, okay? Now, there are some other things we need to get to, like on a 3-term, there's going to be some coming up where the T-chart doesn't work, and you have to have a plan B, okay? That'll be kind of the next thing we talk about. Okay. So -1, -4, and 4. Okay, next, there are 3 solutions to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4. I want to do my grouping. Oh, sorry, I needed to put the plus sign there. And the same thing. Remember to get the plus and then something there. Okay, then I'm going to be checking for my difference of perfect squares. Okay, so I have 2x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2, and then -18x plus 27. Okay, now negative in front, no. You have x's on both, but the smallest is, when the smallest of the group is to the second, you need to put the smallest of the group, the smallest power of the group. You know, before you had an x squared and an x, so you do x, but now with x third and x second, you do x second. If it's x4 and x to the third, you do x third, and so forth. Okay, and then 2 and 3. Can you just get, are you done? Okay, can you just wait 5 minutes or so I can talk about your grade with you? Because I want you to see what you ended up with. You know what I'm saying? So it's 1, so I don't do anything. I'm just about done. Only about 2 more minutes. Okay, 18 and 27. Okay, I got 9. Okay, so I need to factor out a -9. You got to do a negative there, or it's not going to work out the way you want it to. -9. Okay, so at 2, I just dropped 2, but x third divided by x second is x, and then -3, and then we cross those puppies out. And then this is going to be, again, 2x minus 3, okay? All right, so these are the same, so 2x minus 3 is pulled out. And then I have x to the second minus 9. Okay, I have a minus here, but 3 is not a perfect square, so that's prime. I do have a minus here, and that's 3 times 3, and that's x times x, so I need to use I actually have to do my difference of perfect squares. So x, 3, 3, okay? And F1, F2, F3. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 is 0. So 2x equals 3, so we got to divide by 2 this time, and that's 1.5, okay? And then I minus 3, and that gives me -3. And then I plus 3, and that gives me +3. Okay, let's see if there's any oddballs in here. I don't think there is. Nope, I think you're good to go.